You notice it in small moments. A drawer catches because there are too many utensils inside. A blouse you never wear is still taking up space beside the clothes you reach for every week. A box sits in the corner with things you have moved from one home to another without opening. Nothing looks serious enough to deal with today. Still, the house feels as if it is asking questions every time you walk through it. For many women over 40, decluttering after 40 is not about creating an empty home or following strict minimalist rules. It is about building a home that asks less of you, less sorting, less shifting, less remembering, less guilt. Calm women do not keep everything simply because it once mattered, cost money might be useful, or could impress someone someday. They become more interested in what supports the life they are actually living now. That does not make them careless. It makes them more honest about the cost of keeping things. Every object needs space, and many also need cleaning, organizing, repairing, or remembering. Today, we are looking at 10 things calm women over 40 often stop keeping at home. You do not need to clear all 10 categories at once. Notice the one that makes you pause. That is probably where your home is asking for a gentler decision. Some clothes do more than hang in a closet. They carry a message. The jeans that fit years ago may quietly tell you that your current body is not acceptable. The expensive blouse you never liked may remind you that you made a bad purchase. The dress saved for a future occasion may belong to a life you do not actually want. Each time you move past those pieces to find something comfortable, you repeat a tiny negotiation with yourself. Calm women begin to notice that a closet should help them get dressed, not judge them before the day has even started. They stop asking, "Could I wear this again someday?" and begin asking, "Would I choose this for my real life now?" That question is more useful. You can keep a sentimental piece or clothing for a realistic seasonal change. The goal is not to force everything into a donation box. It is to remove clothing that has become a container for guilt pressure or an identity you feel obligated to recover. Letting it go is not giving up on yourself. It is making room for clothes that fit your body, your schedule, and the woman you are today. A kitchen can be full without being helpful. You may have 12 mugs, but only reach for 3. Food containers may spill out of a cabinet because the lids and bases belong to several different sets. Duplicate utensils sit in front of the one tool that actually works well. These extras seem harmless, but they create friction in routines that already happen every day. You open a drawer and have to move things before you can find the peeler. You unload the dishwasher and struggle to fit everything back. You avoid one shelf because removing a bowl may cause 3 other things to shift. Calm women pay attention to that friction. They do not assume a well-prepared kitchen must contain every possible tool serving dish or backup appliance. They keep enough for the way they genuinely cook and host. Useful duplicates may be exactly what your household needs. The point is to distinguish useful support from excess inventory. With fewer mismatched or rarely used items, the things you use most can stay visible and reachable. A calmer kitchen is not necessarily a beautiful kitchen. It is a kitchen that works without making you solve a small puzzle every time you prepare a meal. Decor can make a home feel personal, warm, and lived in. It can also create work that no longer feels worth doing. Think about the row of small objects that must be moved before a shelf can be wiped. The decorative bowl that collects unrelated items. The signs, frames, and ornaments you barely see anymore because they have blended into the background. Calm women do not remove every decorative object. They become more selective about the relationship between beauty and maintenance. They ask, "Do I still enjoy seeing this, and does caring for it feel reasonable?" An object you love may be worth dusting, but something kept only because the shelf would look empty may create more obligation than comfort. Sometimes one larger object has more presence than several small ones, and an open surface can feel restful. A home does not lose its personality when every surface is not filled. It can feel more intentional. The pieces you choose to keep become easier to notice, and cleaning no longer requires relocating a small display every few days. Calm women stop using decor to prove that a room is complete. They let the room breathe, and they keep the things that still give something back. Paper clutter often looks smaller than it feels. A receipt, a flyer, and an old note take up almost no space. But when they gather into piles, they begin to look like postponed decisions. Some papers do need to be kept. Tax, legal, medical, property insurance, and warranty records may have specific retention requirements. Those decisions should be based on the document and the rules that apply to you. But many papers are not important records. They are expired offers, outdated instructions, duplicate printouts, old lists, empty envelopes, and information you could find again if you ever needed it. Calm women stop treating every piece of paper as equally important. They create a clear place for documents that truly need to stay. Then they become more willing to release paper that has no current action reference, legal, financial, or emotional value. An undefined paper pile can keep asking, "Is there something in there I have forgotten?" You do not need a perfect filing system, only enough clarity to know the important documents are protected and the meaningless ones are gone. When every paper has either a purpose or an exit, a surface stops looking like unfinished business. Bathroom drawers often hold more hope than routine. There is the lipstick that looked different at home than it did in the store, the skin product that irritated you, the hair tool you used twice, the samples you keep saving for a trip, the products that have changed in smell, texture, color, or performance. Some stay because they cost money. Others stay because throwing them away feels like admitting you never became the person who used them consistently. Calm women separate the money already spent from the space and attention still being spent. They check manufacturer guidance where it is available, pay attention to product condition, and stop using items that no longer seem appropriate or safe. They also release products that are perfectly usable, but simply do not suit them. Personal care should not feel like a shelf of unfinished promises. A smaller group of products you trust can make a morning routine easier. You can see what you have, use it before buying more, and stop choosing between products that never worked well. This is not about owning only the basics. It is about keeping products that support your actual habits, skin, hair preferences, and available time. The goal is not a perfect vanity. It is a personal care space that feels kind rather than corrective. Many homes give valuable space to people who are rarely there. There may be a full set of special dishes that is difficult to access, extra bedding for visitors who come once every few years, serving pieces for parties you no longer enjoy hosting, or a room arranged for guests while your daily belongings have nowhere comfortable to go. Hospitality can be meaningful. Keeping a reasonable guest setup may make perfect sense. The problem begins when imaginary visitors receive more consideration than the people who live in the home every day. Calm women stop asking their real lives to squeeze around a performance of readiness. They use the comfortable towels. They place everyday items in the easiest cabinets. They allow a rarely used guest room to support reading, exercise, work, hobbies, or rest between visits. This is not selfish. A home is meant to serve its regular occupants first. You can still welcome people warmly without maintaining a private hotel. For an unusual gathering, you can borrow, improvise, or rearrange. Space devoted to a possible future event is unavailable to the present. They keep what supports realistic hospitality, not an imagined standard that makes ordinary life harder. Storage can solve a problem. It can also hide one. A labeled box of holiday decorations has a clear purpose. A container of photographs may hold something valuable. But a box filled with random cords, old papers, broken objects, and items swept from several rooms is not really organized. It is a postponed decision with a lid. Calm women learn to recognize the difference. They do not shame themselves for having boxes like this. Most people create them during busy seasons, moves, emergencies, or rushed attempts to clear a room. But they stop buying more containers as the first response to too many undecided things. Before choosing new storage, they ask what the items are, whether they still belong in the home, and who is realistically going to use them. Sometimes the answer is to organize the contents. Sometimes it is to donate, recycle, repair, relocate, or dispose of them appropriately. The important shift is from hiding to deciding. You do not have to empty every avoidance box in one weekend. Open one. Set a small limit. Make a few honest decisions, then stop before the process becomes exhausting. A calm home is not a home without storage. It is a home where storage protects useful things instead of preserving uncertainty indefinitely. Hobby supplies can be difficult to release because they represent more than objects. They may represent creativity, health, friendship, ambition, or a version of you who once had different time and energy. The knitting yarn may remind you of quiet evenings from another season. Exercise equipment may represent a routine you hope to build. Art supplies may belong to a project you loved before work, caregiving, or changing interests reshaped your days. Calm women do not treat the end of a hobby as a personal failure. They accept that interests have seasons. You can appreciate what an activity gave you without storing every tool forever. You can keep a small, meaningful part of it. You can also release supplies to someone who is ready to use them now. A useful question is, am I keeping this because I want to return to it, or because I do not want to admit that the chapter has closed? The honesty is what matters. If you truly want to begin again, give the hobby a defined place and a realistic next step. If not, letting the items leave can free space for what your current life needs. Your home does not have to display evidence of every person you have ever been. A broken object often arrives with a good intention. You will replace the part, glue the handle, take the lamp to a repair shop, ask someone about the chair. Then weeks pass and the item becomes part of the room. Repair can be a thoughtful and less wasteful choice when there is a realistic path to completing it. The difficulty is the group of broken things that have no part, no appointment, no budget, and no date. Those objects become visible reminders of unfinished work. Calm women make the plan more concrete. They decide what repair requires, what it will cost, and when they will do it. If the item is valuable enough to repair, it receives a next action. If not, they look for a responsible donation, recycling, hazardous waste, or disposal option based on the object and local rules. The relief comes from resolving the decision, not automatically throwing something away. There is a difference between an item awaiting a scheduled repair and one sitting indefinitely under the word someday. You do not need to become harsh with broken possessions. You only need to stop giving them permanent access to your space and attention without a real plan. Some things deserve repair. Other things deserve an honest ending. The final category is not defined by the object. It is defined by the effect. It may be a laundry basket you see from bed and immediately begin planning around. A chair covered with clothes that need several different decisions. A crowded nightstand. Work papers in the place where you try to unwind. A stack by the bedroom door that reminds you of everything tomorrow will require. Rest does not depend on a perfect room. You can sleep in a home with dishes in the sink and a project unfinished. But calm women begin to protect the spaces and moments where they are trying to step out of management mode. They notice what repeatedly pulls the mind back into work. Then they reduce, relocate, contain, or complete what they reasonably can. Sometimes the answer is not decluttering. It may be closing a door, moving a basket, writing tomorrow's task down, or clearing one small surface. The point is not to make relaxation another household project. It is to stop surrounding yourself with unnecessary reminders during the hours when nothing more needs to be solved. Anything that consistently interrupts rest deserves a closer look because the space it occupies may be small, while the attention it takes is much larger. Calm women over 40 do not necessarily keep less because they have become stricter. They keep less because they have become clearer. They know the difference between memory and obligation, between useful abundance and excess, between a real plan and a delayed decision, between hospitality and performance, between a hobby they still love and a former identity they feel guilty releasing. Most of all, they understand that keeping something is not a neutral act. It may ask to be stored, cleaned, moved, maintained, repaired, reviewed, or remembered. When too many objects make those requests at one's home, can begin to feel like another person needing something from you. You do not have to respond by emptying every closet. Choose one category from this video. Open one drawer, touch one pile, or look at one shelf. Ask a simple question. Does this support the life I am living now? You may keep it, donate it, pass it on, repair it, recycle it, or let it go appropriately. The goal is not to own the smallest number of things, It is to create fewer unnecessary demands inside your home. Tell me in the comments which category felt most familiar: clothes kept for guilt, kitchen extras, old papers, beauty products, avoidance boxes, or something else, and subscribe to Calm Her Daily for more practical ways to reduce mental load, protect your energy, and create a calmer home without cleaning all day. A peaceful home is not a home where everything is under control. It is a home where fewer things keep asking for your attention.